It's story time!
Hello and welcome to the Storytime podcast. And this week we're not in my study. I am here with Tom Moran. I've just been on the Personality Bingo podcast.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yes, it was very, very fun. And it potentially won't be out by the time this is going up, but I will remind you to go back and listen to it as soon as it comes out.
I think you're worth waiting for.
So yeah, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're doing a little swapcast.
Yes, Swapcast.
Right?
Where can people find you on the internet?
At Tmore93 on Twitter, on Instagram as well, and have a web series coming out called Fix Me web series on YouTube. So episode 1 drops on the 24th of May. So there's a trailer out right now, and I think people might like it.
Cool. I'll put the link down in the description to the trailer.
Deadly.
And why 93?
That's the year I was born.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm a millennial. We're reclaiming the word millennial, by the way.
Yes, we're taking it back.
Yeah.
So what I do is I bring people on and we tell stories. And we have decided to share ghost stories. So you have a good ghost story for me.
I have a ghost story.
Yes. I'm very excited. One of the questions in Personality Bingo was, do I believe in ghosts? And as I said, the answer is yes, I would really like to believe in spirits and all that stuff, but definitely when I'm scared, yeah, I believe in ghosts. Like, show me a scary movie, I'm all in. Like, that girl calling out the TV, oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
Even though she's not a ghost, but you know what I mean. Yeah,
and you're gonna see Get Out tonight, which is a scary movie, which is really good, which I'm a big fan of. I think I'm excited to talk to you about it. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting why I was asking if you believe in ghosts, because when I tell this story, sometimes I'm conscious, like, oh my God, you might think I'm a crazy person.
Okay.
So right. Will I just get into it?
Get into it.
Okay. So I was so my granddad passed away in February of last year. Okay. And since then I go and stay with my granny. She's 89, and I just go and stay just in case anything was to happen, like if she fell, something like that. So we've gotten quite close, and I go and stay there, and basically she sleeps downstairs now because she's old and the stairs are difficult. So I stay up in my mum's old room where she grew up, and this was like 4 months into me staying there. So like it was like in a habit. But my mum said, "Hey, actually, there's a more comfortable bed in the other room. You should try it." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." So I didn't do it that week. But it's like, I'll do it the next week. And so the next week comes around, and I'm just after like probably the most intense 72 hours of drinking I've ever undergone. So that it like, and
so you're hungover.
Yeah. So I'm flagging that is something that this ghost story should be viewed under the lens of. I was really hungover. Okay. I'm sure I was really dehydrated. I'm sure I was potentially still drunk, even though it was like I hadn't drank in like 12 hours since then. But like still, I was fucking. It was just a lot of intense drinking. Right. Okay. Anyway. So, and that weekend, in and amongst all the drinking, my phone broke. So I had no phone at all. And it was a Sunday, so I couldn't get it fixed. And I was in my granny's house, and I'm wrecked after the whole weekend. And I say goodnight to my granny and make sure she's in bed, all good. I turn off the lights and everything, put the alarm on, and I go upstairs to this old, house, like it's an old person's house, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to stay in the comfy bed tonight. I'm really hungover, I need this. So I don't go into the room I normally go into, and go into this new room. So I've never been in this room before. I don't know where you like this with your grandparents' house, but I just don't know the upstairs of my grandparents' house very well. Yeah. So anyway, I go up the stairs, and I leave my bag in on the bed, the new bed, and I close the curtains, and I go and I take my toothbrush out, and I go into the bathroom. And I brush my teeth, just do all the bits and bobs, and I go back into the room, take my bag off the bed. The curtains are closed from earlier. I switch off the light and I get into bed, and I put my broken phone, under the pillow or whatever. But it can't work. So like normally I'd be messing on my phone before I go to bed. But this time I'm just straight in bed, and I close my eyes to fall asleep. Okay. And I'm not going to sleep. So like whatever, like 3-4 minutes later, I kind of open my eyes, and I'm facing the window where the curtains are that I just closed, and there is a little girl, and she is your face just.
Oh my God! Yeah, I was like, oh, they're gonna be open or something.
No,
oh my God.
No. There's a little girl at the curtains, and so this bit is the bit that starts to like not make sense, but that's
terrifying.
Yeah. So and it was even though there's nothing like inherently threatening about the little girl, except there's a little girl, and yeah. but accept her existence. It's a fair point, like, but so I see the little girl, and so this is where, as I said, it starts to make a little bit less sense, because what I'm going to say is contradictory, but that is how I perceived it. So she was facing the window and wearing a white, like something like a communion dress, and was facing away from me, but I could see her face. And her face was like, again, everything was like kind of like white, like, and it was like glowing, like embarrassingly like what a ghost, like embarrassingly like what you think a ghost is gonna look like. Do you know what I mean? Like the basic bitch version of a ghost. And and
I love that expression, the basic bitch version.
Yeah. Like it really was. It was really like bottom of the barrel shit. So anyway, she is but so she's facing it away, but I can see her face, and her face again is white, but there are 3 black triangles on her 2 eyes and her mouth, and no nose. So it's like, but it's very clearly like a girl. Do you know what I mean? You're like, you're left. So that's the first bit where it gets a bit strange. And then also she's like looking directly at me, and with the she's looking at me, but with her back to me. This is why it's weird. And she's rustling the curtains with her hand, like with her just her finger, and the curtains are moving. And like this I'm sure of. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know if there was a window open or anything like that. But the curtains are moving, and the little girl's moving them with her finger, just rustling them, and she's just doing it like very slowly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and as I said, nothing inherently threatening about it.
I know,
but
it
like,
just gives me the shivers all over the story.
Oh no, completely. So like, and I see that and freak, and I jump out of the bed. But I've never been in this room before. It's completely dark. I don't have a phone. I don't know where the light switch is. I have no idea where the light switch is, because I've never been in this fucking room before. So I'm panicking, like really, really, really panicking, like the most scared I've ever been in my life. And like, I'm just like on the walls, like trying to find the switch, and I have no idea. All I know is that I can't go near the window, because that's where the girl is. I can't look back though, because I'm terrified to see her again.
Fair enough,
or where she might be. I don't know anything. So and then eventually, like, looking for the door, I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to calm down, because so I had to just kind of like take a breath. Like, this is all happening over the space of 8 seconds, I would say.
Yeah, it was happening really fast.
But I take a breath, and I'm like, okay. So eventually, like, pawed around, found the light, switched the light on again, didn't look back though, just looked, like, the light switch was right beside the door handle, opened the door, went out, closed the door, and just went into the room that I normally stay, turned on all the lights, and was just like shaking so aggressively. I was like, I actually might have a heart attack now. Like, I was like worried about myself. I didn't want to. And so I was sitting in that bed with no phone, which like is a real big character in the story, because I was just left with my own thoughts in the dark. I also had no idea of like,
to contact anyone.
Yeah, no way to contact anyone. It's my, like, Granny says, like, so no one's like lived up there for like a year. There's like there were no clocks, and if there were, they were the wrong time, so I had no idea what time it was. And I was just shaking so much in the bed. I was sitting upright. I'd left my bag and everything in the room, because I just burst out of the room. And so I was like, I couldn't sleep, but anytime I closed my eyes, I would just see the girl was just so imprinted in my head that the minute I closed my eyes, that's all I could see. Like, I couldn't turn the light off in that room for the whole night, and basically just like had to wait until it got bright at about, I don't know, probably like 6 o'clock the next morning. Once it was bright, like, terrified again. I was terrified the whole night, but I went back into the room once it was bright, took my things out, and like just left.
Never went back in there ever again.
Never. I've not been back in the room since. But I still go and stay. Like, I'm still like a part-time carer for my granny, so I go and stay like twice a week.
And did you ever tell her or your parents about this?
No. Because then what's messed up about it is I try to rationalize it, and this is messed up, and I don't know, but this is honestly where my brain went, and I was like, was that? Because first of all, I thought, when I first saw the ghost, I was like, did my mum die, and this is her ghost from when she was a kid, and I just haven't heard that she died yet, because I was away for the weekend, so I hadn't seen her. So I thought, shit,
that's a dark thought. Okay.
So dark. And then I was also like, my granddad had just died. I also, my granddad was like the loveliest man. This is not true. But my brain thought like, oh my god, did my granddad like abuse children? Did my granddad murder like, this is where your brain is at when something like that happens. It's trying to rationalize mad stuff.
But that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, did you talk to anyone to figure out why there was a little girl in the house? So obviously not.
I'm kind of too afraid to I tell all my friends this, but like and I mentioned it to my dad, but like, so it's my mom's house, if that makes sense. And I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm afraid that they might be afraid if I tell them, or I'm afraid
They won't believe you.
It's not even that. I'm afraid that like maybe I'm afraid they're like, oh yeah,
There might be a
we
story.
know who you saw.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
think I want to know that, because I like have to go out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
I'm
that makes sense.
to that
yeah.
day, to this day, it's terrifying going up the stairs, and it's a dark old house. You know what I mean?
So you, after that experience, you obviously believe in ghosts.
I don't like. And as I said, this story should be viewed with the precursor that I was really hungover.
Well, like, and by my reaction to it, like, I obviously believe in ghosts as well. Like, if I feel like, oh my God, that was like a bird and
No,
scared the
I'm
shit
in
out
a
of me
very
there.
heightened place as well, telling the
I
story.
don't know if you could hear that in the microphone. There's like a seagull just made a noise outside,
Yeah.
and I just had an absolute heart attack. Yeah, so I obviously believe in ghosts.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Would you buy a murder house?
What's that? Oh,
Like a house that
sorry.
had murder in it?
Sorry. I don't think so.
I wouldn't. So when me and my other half were buying our house, we were going around looking at places, and he doesn't really believe in ghosts, so he thought I was mental. But I wanted to bring, at the time, because we didn't have our own dog, his sister's dog with us to the house viewings, because dogs won't go into houses that are haunted.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that.
Yeah, you're right. You're not
And
wrong.
I was like, the dog refuses to in, we don't buy the house. And then he thought I was mental and wouldn't agree to it. And then when we finally did buy the house, I was like, okay, yeah, cool, we got the keys. Let's bring the dog. Just want to see if the dog's happy in it. But she went in, so it's fine.
Yeah. That's a good question. Yeah.
Woof you.
Yeah. I mean, but it's so I think I do believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
I think I do believe in ghosts. But I understand people who don't, and it's weird because like if someone told me that story, maybe I would go, "Oh no, you're just a crazy person." But like it happened, and even if it didn't happen, I'm so something happened. Or
Yeah.
I'm so sure that something was. Even if that was all in my imagination, that's just as crazy as a ghost.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
actually know what's more crazy.
Yeah. Why? How did it come to you? Do you ever get the thing where I've had it once or twice where you're kind of asleep and you kind of wake up, or you at least think that you've woken up and you feel like, and this is why I was quite surprised when you were saying like that you could run away. Like it's happened to me before where I think that I woke up, but maybe I was still asleep. But I could have sworn I woke up and I was like frozen stiff in the bed and I couldn't go anywhere, and there was a man standing at the end of the bed, and like that was terrifying.
Oh my
and
God.
the only way to deal with this was to just like turn my head and like close my eyes and just hope that he went away. But that could have just been a bad dream. Do you know what I mean? So, but I could have sworn I was awake for it. Ugh.
And what did the man look like? Like, did he look like an actual man, or like a man from a different generation, or like a man that walked off the street?
I can't really remember. I think it was mostly silhouette, but I remember he didn't look like a friendly old dude. Do you know what I mean? I think I remember like maybe burning eyes. This is all sounding again very basic bitch, like I've recalled it from a film, and maybe I have, and maybe I had a nightmare about a film or something. But it felt very real to me at the time.
Yeah.
And it was quite scary. Yeah, I've luckily had no weird experiences in my house, because I'd hate to be alone then in a house after I'd had like a weird, because it's scary enough when you're home alone.
Yeah.
The house is creaking and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I have that a lot. Like you know, I work as an actor. So if I'm like away, like it's very common that like I'll be away staying in hotels or living in hotels for like long chunks of time, and like it's weird when you just go into like a new place and you're like, I don't know, like I've always had that part of me that like has been interested in the paranormal and stuff like that.
Me too, yeah.
Like always, even like on Nickelodeon. Do you remember that show? Like, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Like I used to look like, so that's always been a part of me.
I used to read the books. There used to be books.
Was there?
I'm nearly positive there was books.
Yeah.
R.L. Stein.
Yes, yeah,
R.L.
you're
Stein
right.
had a
You're right.
series, yeah.
But like so, and like going to like hotels and stuff, and I'd always just be that little bit like aware of it now. Do you know?
Yeah.
God, and even like I'm actually a very like frightened person. I used to be like, even like this is like more of like the comedy part, but like it doesn't feel it when you're in it. But like I can acknowledge that this is a ridiculous thing I'm about to tell you. But you know, swimming pools.
Okay.
2 parts of this. I'll give you the.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to know where this is going.
Yeah, okay, so I'll give you the genuinely like frightening one first. That like, they're both genuinely frightening. I shot a film in Slovakia for like 4 months. Okay, so I was living in Slovakia for 4 months, and I was got very like anxious, and I was the only English speaker on the crew. I was like the lead in it, but it was a Slovakian film, and so like it was all Slovakian people. Their first language isn't English, and I was just not understanding what was going on a lot, and just like was feeling really anxious about it. So I used to try and swim in the pool in the hotel to just exercise
Chill
and
out, yeah.
relieve the anxiety. But there was this problem because the pools, you know, that like blue, baby blue, light blue swimming pool colour.
Yes.
You know that colour? And so like for any like of your like listeners abroad, like everyone knows this, like Ireland is a super Catholic country, but I've always been terrified of the Virgin Mary.
Sorry.
Always. No, that's the correct response.
Didn't mean to laugh.
It is funny. Always.
Well, the older generations did try to beat it.
Well, they did
unfortunate
that too.
choice of words.
Yeah.
Into people that that God was a big scary, like vindictive, like he's going to get you
Mm-hmm.
if you do your sins or whatever. But I always thought the Virgin Mary was portrayed as real, like loving.
I think that's what I was afraid of. That sounds so dark.
I was like, whoa,
I'm
I'm not
afraid
your
of love.
therapist.
yeah, calm down here, Tom. It's meant to be a fucking ghost story. Take it easy, mate. No, but like I maybe that's what we're really afraid of. Claire, is just love. That's what it all comes down to. Jesus
bring it back,
Christ.
bring it back.
Yeah. But yeah, so like that. But that, I think honestly, like I remember as a kid, this is so fucked. I remember as a kid praying to God that I would not see the Virgin Mary tonight. That was honestly, that's my prayers were.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to know where like that came from. Like, that's like, I want to know like who was like putting the shits up you about the Virgin Mary's
Yeah.
gonna come to you tonight.
I don't even know. Growing up, I was always afraid of the Virgin Mary, and like it was, I don't know. So the swimming pools used to like accentuate that because you like the blue, that pale blue.
Oh yeah, that's associated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the blue you're talking about.
So
yeah.
I would pray to God, being like, please God, don't let me see the Virgin Mary tonight. And whenever I was picturing what she might look like if she did come, she was always like in
blue,
in blue, like this pale blue with like white. And so swimming pools like always just evoked that like feeling. And so I would be swimming in a pool, and then like my head would like, when I go up to like take a breath, I'd be terrified that I'd see the Virgin Mary. So then I put my head back under, close my eyes. Every time, I know that sounds fucking crazy. This isn't like when I was like 12. This was like 18 months ago. I was a man.
I'm so sorry, I just can't stop laughing.
It's hilarious, but it's not.
I definitely couldn't be a therapist. I guess I don't understand is why you would see her in the first place.
Because it was blue. That's literally
No. When you were praying to God that you wouldn't see her.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Why would?
Yeah. I don't know. Like it's probably like maybe some like element of like
must have been-
narcissism. Like, why?
Yeah, she wants to visit you personally. It must have been said to you as a kid or something.
Yeah, I have no.
The stuff that gets into your head,
Yeah.
like as a kid, that people don't realize is having a like really profound effect on you.
Mm-hmm. Even
Mad.
now, like I'm a writer as well, and like the Virgin Mary always wants to pop up with my writing. Like I always like
You should do a horror film
yeah.
around the Virgin Mary. I would watch the shit out of that.
Oh my god, okay, because you've just sparked this idea in my head, and you're gonna see it in, because they kind of got to the idea before. But I had this like, I lived in this part of Dublin, and it was down this little laneway,
Okay.
and I always had this vision of like, it was like a long laneway, and it was like in Dublin 6. It was like central enough, but like it was a long, and it looked like a rural laneway, and I always had this like image of like terrifying, but if there was an old woman like at the bottom of the laneway, and then like she just sprints at you. Do you know what I mean? Like she just sprints at you. So imagine if that was a Virgin Mary statue, right? And the Virgin Mary statue's just sitting there, and then all of a sudden,
Like less scary to me now. Sorry.
why do you have this comedic relationship with the Virgin Mary?
I could just imagine the Virgin Mary like sprinting in like a
Yeah.
row billowing out,
Yeah.
and it gave me a very Father Ted vibe. You know where your man is chasing him after finding out he kicked him up the arse, Bishop Brennan.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is billowing. Yeah, sorry.
Oh god.
That's probably why I think it's so funny, is because it evokes Father Ted.
Yeah.
Memories in my brain.
Well, it is. Yeah.
But it is, if it was done, if it was done right, it's definitely scary.
I'm also really afraid of in swim pools, and because you mentioned in my podcast that you lived in Australia, and like one of the first things I asked you about was sharks. I'm also like, if I'm in swim pools, I know this is stupid, but I always genuinely think there's going to be a shark in the swim pool. So like I was genuinely be swimming away from the shark at one end, lift my head up to breathe, having a look for the Virgin Mary, back down away from the shark, having a look for the Virgin Mary. I swear to God, like
This might be my favourite stories that I've ever heard on the podcast.
I honestly, but I would be really, my heart would be fucking racing. Like,
I know, I don't mean to laugh at your fear because obviously it's very real for you. But it's like,
but for me,
but like from a third party perspective, it's a little bit funny.
oh, it's hilarious. No, I do understand that it's
Like
hilarious.
the girl one's very scary. I'm 100% on board with you there.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that there was nothing like. Yeah, there was like because I can understand that the other ones are hilarious and ridiculous. But the girl one was like dark because I don't know why it was.
Did you live anywhere near a haunted house when you were younger?
Not that I know of.
Where I was from, we had this. We just called it the Hostel, but it was like it used to be a hostel, to my understanding, or some sort of hotel or something. And it's like, I think it's done up now, but it was built on a famine graveyard. And so there in the story went that it was haunted, and the reason it shut down was because people would stay there and be murdered, etc., etc. And there used to be so many ghost stories, and I can't really remember any specifics now, but I remember there was a lot of like people seeing ghosts, you know, and all these stories of how like people would stay there and kill people because they've been told and blah blah. But I just remember that when we were younger, we used to be terrified of this place. So like the older kids would like maybe go in and break in and like walk around and be like, oh my God, they're so brave.
Yeah.
And what I used to do, and I still did it till I was about early 20s, I'd say. Yeah, I used to run past it at night. So there'd be the big gate into it, and it was always pitch black behind the gate, and it was always like terrifying. So everyone would just kind of walk, and then would they get to just a bit before the gate, and then they'd sprint until they were far enough past it to start walking again. Whoa. And that was just, we were all really afraid of it, and I still did that, I'd say, till I was at least 19.
Whoa. Yeah,
probably older, probably second year college I did it till they did up it and turned it into a proper hotel.
Yeah, you're bringing me back to memories of like in where I'm from. It's a place called Dunboyne, and there's this estate called Castleview. Okay, and it's like in the middle of the village, so like pretty much anywhere you're walking, you're gonna go by Castleview. And I've always been really afraid of. Now, like this one, I can kind of back the two parts of this. One part. We back this one up a bit more like on that psychological level, like where did the fear of the Virgin Mary come from? One, I had like a real fear of like people hanging themselves. Okay. Which I understand that more because like suicide is like a real issue, you know what I mean? And like like there were people in my life that I was afraid might
go that route,
and people that I knew had. So that was a real fear. And going through the village, the church steeple, I always had, like, there was a spike at the top of it, and I always had this real fear that there would be a body like swinging from the steeple. It was always
those are some dark thoughts.
Yeah, really dark. And like I'm a very, very like happy, smiley dude, but like I'm very dark. Like I don't know, it's a weird like paradox about me, I guess. But then the other one was the Banshee. You know, the Banshee. I don't know. Do you think American listeners will know the Banshee?
Perhaps they might know like the idea of the comedic Banshee, but like it was. I remember when I was younger, it was like a thing.
Yeah,
I feel like maybe we've lost it now as a society. I don't really hear it mentioned anymore. But yeah, well, I feel like when we were younger, it was definitely told with glee. Like this Banshee used to scream, and
if you heard the scream, a loved one of yours was going to die.
Yeah,
like that would like that.
Yeah, when there was a woman dressed in black.
Yeah,
and you didn't look her in the eyes or something?
Yeah, exactly. Right? If she looked, I think that was it. And if you heard the scream. But anyway, then there was this, it was fucking weird, but like down this alleyway, for whatever reason, I got it in my head, and there was like, that this like Banshee, again, it's funny when you say it, but like this Banshee like lived on top of a recycling bin, and that like...
You just keep surprising me with where you go with these things. Like, I just was not expecting you to say on top of a recycling bin.
I mean, like, just because it was an alleyway and people leave their recycling bins in an alleyway.
No, it does make sense, but I just wasn't expecting you to go there.
And I was afraid, and it was the kind of thing that
I'm totally on board with the Banshee, 100%.
Scary thing. And so, like, you'd be walking down the main street, and if you look to your left, there were, like, multiple alleyways just down to people's houses and stuff. But I was, like, afraid to look down each alleyway because I always thought there would be a Banshee there. And, like, again, I was never, like, afraid of, like, being harmed by any of these things. I was just afraid of seeing them. Even if I saw the Virgin Mary, like, what was she gonna do? She's not gonna fuck me anyway. She wouldn't be a virgin and I was finished with her.
Oh, We're gonna have so many people so mad.
Oh, really?
I'd say there'd be a few people
Sorry,
quite annoyed.
guys. Sorry. No, I'm allowed to
Now
make
she
jokes
will
about it
appear
because it's
tonight
my
and
biggest
kick your
fear.
ass.
Yeah, it's true. I'll deserve it. I'll deserve it. She just plays back your
She's like,
podcast.
I
She's
hear
like,
what you said.
she's like, bend over.
No, I said Jesus Christ. Make it worse.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can leave it there. Those are really enjoyable ghost stories.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting to laugh quite so much.
Yeah, well, you
And I apologise.
for laughing at my trauma. No problem.
But it was really interesting, yeah.
Thanks for having me
I
on.
really enjoyed it. No, thank you for coming on, and
Yeah.
thank you for sharing your stories, and thank you for having me on your Personality Bingo podcast. And I'll share the link on all my social media as soon as it's up. I do think this is going up first, so I'll just make sure to push it as much as possible when it does come out.
Woo, me too.
And actually, sure, fuck it, go subscribe to Personality Bingo now.
Yeah,
Why not? Why
Yeah.
wait?
I think
links down in the description and in the show notes on SoundCloud. For the YouTube people, this video might have cut out slightly once or twice. Apologies about that. I'm on a temporary setup because I'm not in my own place. And yeah, it's fine. It'll only be half a second, hopefully. And it's a ghost. They don't want us talking about them.
Yeah, they're crafty.
Where can people find you on social media again?
Yeah, so Twitter at Tmore93 and Instagram as well. And then, check out Fix Me, which is a new web series on YouTube.
And where do people find your podcast?
Podcast is Personality Bingo. It's on the Head Stuff Podcast Network at headstuff.org. And you can get us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and all those good places.
Sweet.
Great.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Claire.
Bye. See you next week.
Bye, guys.